क्रिकेट के क्षेत्र में हर कोई इंपॉर्टेंट है, सिर्फ खिलाड़ियों पे हमारी हमेशा नज़र रहती है क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि खिलाड़ी सबसे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। और खिलाड़ियों में भी ना कहीं बैटर्स थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा या कहीं बहुत ज़्यादा डोमिनेट कर जाते हैं बॉलर्स के ऊपर। ये आम बात है, कोई नई बात नहीं है। हम हमेशा कहते हैं बॉलर्स के ऊपर फोकस करो, लेकिन बैटर्स हमेशा बाजी मार जाते हैं। भाई बैटर और बॉलर और फील्डर और कप्तान, ये सारी चीज़ें तो बहुत कॉमन बात है सुनने के लिए और देखने के लिए, लेकिन ये बैटर बॉलर को देखता कौन है, कौन गवर्न करता है? अंपायर। ऑन फील्ड ऑफ फील्ड अंपायर। सिर्फ जब डिसीजन अच्छा फायदेमंद होता है तो अंपायर की तरफ देखते हैं, कहते हैं बहुत बड़े डिसीजन, और जब खराब होता है तो भी वहीं देखते हैं बहुत खराब डिसीजन। तो अंपायर कितना ज़रूरी है, चाहे वो ऑन फील्ड हो या ऑफ फील्ड हो, है ना? तो अब हमने सोचा खिलाड़ियों के साथ साथ अंपायर पे भी फोकस करना चाहिए। तो बहुत दूर क्यों जाएं, हम ज़्यादा दूर नहीं जाएंगे, अपनी कंट्री में रहेंगे। अपनी कंट्री में सब कुछ है। तो सबसे ज़्यादा यंग या कहें वन ऑफ द यंग अंपायर्स आज हमारे साथ बात करेंगे। वृंदा राठी हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगी। तो थैंक यू सो मच वृंदा फॉर ज्वाइनिंग डिफरेंट स्ट्रोक्स। तो सबसे पहले वाई अंपायरिंग?
So, getting into cricket umpiring was I actually played the game. I played a bit of the game and then I became a scorer. And I would say I was very fortunate enough to actually get into the stream and make it to this level because it was during my scoring days when I also thought of exploring something else because I just felt that scoring is not enough. And that was a moment during 2013 in the World Cup when I saw Kathy Cross. So, like, that just inspired me to take up umpiring, to explore, because till then I did not know that females could umpire, or we also had an option to umpire. So, that is how I took up umpiring the moment I saw her, and that just got me the inspiration to at least explore, try and see if I could make something out of it. So, that is how my umpiring journey started.
पर अंपायरिंग के अलावा कोचिंग भी तो है, कोचिंग भी तो आप कर सकते थे अगर चाहते तो। मतलब अंपायरिंग के अलावा भी आई एम श्योर ऑप्शंस रहे होंगे आपके पास।
I believe coaching is actually not my cup of tea, and it's a very special job. I would say it requires a different kind of skill set. You cannot work alone. It's something you need to work for a team. It's always a team first, and something which I was not sure that I had that skill set to become a coach or that patience to become a coach. So yeah, umpiring.
क्रिकेट खेलने का नहीं सोचा? ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता कि सिर्फ अंपायरिंग में सीधे ही चले गए होगे कि मैं स्पेशलाइज्ड अंपायर बनूंगी। खेलने की तरफ तो आए थे, मुझे याद है मैदान में आए थे आप।
I tried a bit. I tried. Actually, when I started, obviously my aim was not immediately to play India, but yeah, when I started cricket, I started a bit late because again, the awareness was not there. So by the time I started, I was under 19 already. I was just finishing my 19. So I tried till like 5-6 years. But honestly, when I saw the competition around me, when I saw people around me, when the players around me, and it sometimes gives you that sense that probably you're not up to that mark. So that was a self-realization kind of thing. Ki probably I am not that good for that level. So that is when I just thought of stop playing and take up something which will keep me related to the game.
हम हमेशा कहते हैं गुड अंपायर या वेरी गुड अंपायर, पर ये क्यों कहते हैं? मतलब कोई क्वालिटीज होती हैं जो बताती हैं कि ये गुड अंपायर है, ये नॉट सो गुड अंपायर है, ये कमिंग अप अंपायर है? आप कैसे देखते हो?
Firstly, should have love and passion for the game. Like, it is a demanding job. It is physically, mentally both demanding. So you should have that love and passion to go out there. And you could have different weather conditions. This is one quality I would say should have. And other than that, should have the knowledge to read the situation. Should be a good reader of the game, I could say. With these two things, there are a few other basic things like the skill, the knowledge. Should have a good body language, decision making, adaptability. So these are the few to name for the good qualities are essential.
देखो अंपायरिंग के लिए जो हमेशा कहते हैं बस खड़े ही तो हैं, सिर्फ स्क्वायर लेग और बिल्कुल अपने मार्क पे जाके खड़े हो जाते हैं, लेकिन ये वॉकिंग डिस्टेंस के बीच में भी ट्रेनिंग इंपॉर्टेंट है। करते हो ट्रेनिंग?
I'll tell you one thing. I'm like, thank God we don't have to train like the players nowadays. Like the way we used to do fitness back then, I still remember. So I'm just happy that we don't have to match up that level. But having said that, we do need to like have some kind of physical fitness to cope up with the game. Nowadays, when we see players, the way they train, the physical fitness they have, we need to match that. And for me personally, for me it is the off season, which is basically this period of the year, which I try and utilize to the maximum. So I'll work on my fitness. I'll incorporate both actually, strength and cardio, a bit of cardio in it. And this helps me actually, like the time and investment I put here, it actually helps me during the season to push my body during the season.
पर क्लब मैच हो, स्टेट मैच हो, आईसीसी मैच हो, आई एम श्योर बतौर प्लेयर हमारे लिए तो ऑफकोर्स डिफरेंट रहता है बिकॉज इंटेंसिटी बढ़ती रहती है. क्या आप एज अंपायर्स आपके लिए भी ऐसी इंटेंसिटी बढ़ती है, चेंज होती है?
Speaking of this, I would say actually there is not much of a difference. So it's like an artist at job, no matter what the stages, we have to perform. We need to perform. So the basic of the umpiring always remains the same at whichever level I'm umpiring, be it state, club, or a ICC game. And I believe actually sometimes officiating at the club level is a bit more challenging than at a higher level. Because here it's just the umpires who take care of everything. Compared to at a higher level, we have sometimes a team of 3, 4, or 5 who together take care of a game or run the show, I would say. So that is the difference. It's not a major difference, but yeah, I would say this is the very little difference, I would say.
अच्छा, जब खेलते हैं तो कहते हैं मेंस मैच चल रहा है, विमेंस मैच चल रहा है, ऑफ कोर्स क्लासिफिकेशन के लिए ज़रूरी है. तो क्या कभी आपको भी ऐसा लगता है कि मैं मेंस का मैच अंपायर कर रही हूँ, क्या मैं विमेंस का मैच अंपायर कर रही हूँ? कोई आपके माइंड में भी ऐसी क्लासिफिकेशन रहती है?
So the difference, actually the game, how it is played is actually just the same. Be it men or women, the intensity they bring are more or less the same at both in both the genders. But the difference could be the pace. By pace, I mean the actual pace of the game, sometimes player management and acceptance level. Because it's very normal nowadays to have a female umpire at a female match, like in a women's match, but it is not as common in a men's match. Like you still find a very few female officials in the men's match. So I think acceptance level, it's definitely there. I'm not saying it's not there, but like acceptance as an umpire rather than a women umpire, that would be a bit more challenging, or that would be a difference, I would say.
देखिए, आई एम श्योर जैसे जैसे टूर्नामेंट्स बढ़ते जाते हैं और एज अ यंग अंपायर भी आप स्तर गेन करते रहते हो, बड़े टूर्नामेंट्स में आते हो, तो कहीं ना कहीं जिसे हम कहते हैं ना, हाउ डू हैंडल प्रेशर, भाई प्लेयर के लिए अलग होता है, आई एम श्योर अंपायर के लिए भी होता होगा. अगर ये वर्ड सही है प्रेशर, तो हाउ डू यू हैंडल इट?
The first or the most important thing is just trying to stay in the moment, trying to stay what is going on, and not getting carried away by the situation of the game or by the big names of the players. Like we need to be in the game always. Doesn't matter if the game is going like at a high intensity or what the game is, at what point it is, we need to be in the game. And not thinking of future, past, just being in the present. That is what I think is the best way to handle a pressure.
और अगर पैक्ड स्टेडियम हो, फुल हाउस हो, होम टीम खेल रही हो, तो भी क्या प्रेशर सेम है, ज्यादा है, कम है, कैसे?
Oh yeah, the very recent game of India versus Australia at DY Patil. It was my very first game in a packed stadium. So that is it was my very first experience with 45,000 plus screaming, shouting for just one team, cheering for one team. And the game went on so close, like it did go to the super over. So that means it has gone to the wire. So I did feel, but again, as I said, I had those butterflies. It was just building up, but again, I just kept saying to myself that I need to focus on the ball coming next. Just focus on the ball coming next. So that was one game which I'll recollect and say that it actually, you can kind of feel the pressure, but yeah, you need to stay in the moment.
क्रिटिसिज्म तो आता ही है, खेलते वक्त भी आता है, I'm sure अंपायरिंग करते वक्त भी आता है, तो आप कैसे हैंडल करते हो? और खासतौर पर तब जब होम टीम खेल रही हो, फैंस हो, तो ये सारी चीज़ें, लाइक्स डिसलाइक्स कैसे देखते हो, कैसे हैंडल करते हो, मैनेज करते हो?
Again, I haven't quit the game, but yeah. So this is actually one area I would say I'm still learning. But on the having said that, I would say I've come a long way from how I used to handle a situation at the start of my career. Handle these kind of situations. I feel with a bit more of exposure and experience now, I understand how to filter out things as to whom or what I should take seriously or what I can just laugh and get along with. Like as you said, the fans sometimes they can be harsh, but that's the thing we need to as professionals do again. Like we need to know what do we take and what do we just filter it out. And honestly, I'll tell you one thing: as umpires, we actually know where we have erred, what we have done wrong. We know it all. So if the same thing comes from a player or a, let's say, team management, so I think we should just accept it, learn it, and move forward from it because we already know what we have done. So that is the best way I think we can just handle criticism or learn from it.
डीआरएस आ गया है, अच्छा भी है, खराब भी है। हमारी नज़र से अलग है क्योंकि हम तो ब्रॉडकास्टर्स हैं, हम प्लेयर्स हैं, लेकिन अंपायरिंग की तरफ से डीआरएस अच्छा है, आसान कर दी ज़िंदगी या मुश्किल कर दी ज़िंदगी?
I believe it made our job easier as an on-field umpire. Yes. So the thing or the reason I say this is because we don't have to carry the burden of an error, and we get immediate closure to it. Like we just get the closure, be it like even if it was an overturned decision. As umpires, basic thing is we cannot be or afraid of making an error because that is going to happen. That is our job. So be it a non-DRS game or a DRS game, making error as an umpire, it always hurts us. So with DRS coming in, I feel it's just better. You get the decision rectified immediately. Feeling that it won't hamper the game or it didn't actually affect the game in a different manner. So that is why I would like I am for DRS, and at the same time, if it is the necessity in the current scenario to world cricket, I am all for it. I am actually all for it.
देखिए, बतौर प्लेयर हम बड़े लैंग्वेजेस में बोलते हैं, मुझे पता है आप तो इंडियन भाषा समझते हो, इंग्लिश भी समझते हो, लेकिन कभी कभी कोई ऐसा मौका आया जहाँ लैंग्वेज हैज़ बिकम अ बैरियर और आपको लगा कि ये क्या बोला किसने, मुझे समझ नहीं आया, कप्तान इधर आओ?
Largely, players do understand, and as most of the cricket playing nations are English speaking, so like we normally the players do understand it, and if at all at some point we genuinely have difficulty, we could always involve the captain who would normally be a better communicator, and we could use them as a mediator for the communication between a player or an umpire. So that is where the captain, maybe we can include the captain as a mediator. And I would tell you one more thing. Like sometimes I feel like it's not just the language. Sometimes even if we speak the same language, but as I mentioned, the game at DY Patil, the noise, the buzz in the stadium, it made it so difficult. Like we could, like we could hardly communicate to each other. And if the even if the captain is standing at covers or let's say mid off or some, it was very difficult. So that is where I feel like cricket in general, there are few things which by gesture they'll understand. So gesture is one thing which can also help us to communicate in a better way. So just doing a kind of, because the gestures around the world in this game is the same, like it's more or less the same way the umpire would communicate to a player or the players to understand that. So gesture is also one thing which we can use and make them understand what are we trying to communicate. So this is also one thing, yeah.
क्या आप कभी किसी को बोलोगे अंपायर बनने के लिए? क्या, और अगर बोलोगे तो क्या बोलोगे?
I would say like you need to have started for the right reason. You need to have the love for the game. At the beginning, I mentioned that like you really need to have the love and the passion for the game. I remember when I started the game, I started umpiring. I did not start thinking of making a career out of it or making money or giving interviews. Like I just started because I loved it. I wanted to explore the path, and along the way, just being dedicated to the way, have some patience, and maybe you'll make a career out of it. Like just go for it, but go for it at the for the right reasons. Be in the game for the right reasons, and things will happen for you, and things will happen.
आई एम श्योर आपकी ज़िंदगी भी कोई आसान नहीं होती, चाहे वो T20 मैच हो, 50 हो, टेस्ट मैच हो, बट थैंक यू सो मच वृंदा हमसे बात करने के लिए और इनसाइट्स देने के लिए, बिकॉज हमें लगता है अंपायरिंग तो बहुत आसान है क्योंकि डिसीजन ही तो उठाना है, यस ओवर बोलना है या आउट देना है, बट आई एम श्योर बहुत ज़्यादा प्रिपरेशन रहती है। हम अगर कभी मैच शुरू होने से बहुत पहले पहुंचते हैं तो आप हमसे भी पहले पहुंचते हैं, मुझे पता है अंपायर्स का काम बहुत है, बट थैंक यू सो मच एंड ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट फॉर योर फ्यूचर। ट्रैवल मैं कहीं भी करूं, देश में रहूं, विदेश में रहूं, लेकिन बातचीत का सिलसिला तो हमेशा चलता रहेगा। कहाँ? डिफरेंट स्ट्रोक्स पे। तो आप लाइक कमेंट शेयर करना मत भूलिएगा एंड सब्सक्राइब करेंगे तो पता चलता रहेगा जब जब नया कुछ आता रहेगा, और बहुत कुछ नया आएगा। सीजन अब शुरू हो चुका है, देखते रहिए एंड थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग डिफरेंट स्ट्रोक्स।